National Cultural History. My name is Lauren Willis. I'm the program and exhibit developer here at the museum. And before we get started, I just want to let those of you who don't yet know, the museum is now open until 8 p.m. on Thursdays. So after this evening's talk, feel free to look around the exhibits, including this fabulous exhibit, Blake Little, Photographs from the Gay Rodeo. I'll do my best to clear these chairs out of your way so you don't have to weave your way through the aisles to look at the photographs and read the labels. And I also want to let you know that tomorrow evening, the museum is hosting Museum After Hours, which is a 21 and older event. We'll have beer and food from Falling Sky, wine from Walnut Ridge, and Western swing lessons led by Craig Miller, who's here to speak with us tonight. And we'll also have some rodeo-style activities all throughout the museum and out in our courtyard, weather permitting, but it's looking like it's supposed to be a lovely evening. So this is a ticketed event. If you buy your ticket tonight, you'll save $5 versus what you'll pay at the door tomorrow evening. You can buy tickets at the admission desk, and if you have any questions, feel free to come ask me after the program or find another staff person and we can answer those for you. So I'd like to start this evening's presentation by thanking our co-sponsors. As some of you might know, the museum received a 20% budget cut last spring, so we are extremely grateful for the support from the University of Oregon Department of History, the Folklore and Public Culture program at the University of Oregon, the UO Women's Gender and Sexuality Studies Department, and the UO LGBT Education and Support Services. The Oregon Folklife Network, which is a division of the Museum of Natural and Cultural History, also was a special contributor for this event. So now it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker, folklorist Craig Miller. Craig received an MFA from the University of Utah and served as the Folk Arts Coordinator for the Utah Arts Council for nearly 30 years. He has served on boards of Culture Conservative Corps and the Nova Chamber Music Series, and has received numerous awards, including the Dr. Kristen Rise Community, I hope I said her last name right, Community Service Award from the Utah Pride Center, the 1994 Utah Heritage Award from the Utah State Historical Society, and the Mayor's Service to the Arts Award from the Salt Lake City Mayor's Office in 2014. Craig was the founding director of the Utah Stonewall Center, which was later known as the Utah Pride Center, which opened its doors in 1991. A rodeo enthusiast, Craig was the first person permitted by the International Gay Rodeo Association to film at the rodeos. He is here with us this evening to share a bit of history about the gay rodeo and the values that help unify it as a community. Please join me in welcoming Craig.
Wow, Lauren, thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So, what a pleasure to be here. What a surprise to be here. This work that I did was in the early 90s, researching and documenting traditional rodeo in the gay community. And I had never heard about it until I started working as a folklorist and managed to catch up with members of the gay community, and boy, they were sure talking a lot about that. And when I heard there was an exhibit here, I was really excited to come and see what it is. And I had never heard about this until the museum brought this in, and I'm really excited to see so many beautiful photographs of something that was really ignored for so many years. And I have to admit, I wrote this paper and gave it nationally in 1993, and I used to give it for the Utah Humanities Council as one of their guest speakers, and 8 years afterward, the state legislature threatened to take away all of their funding if they continued to pay me. So that's a strange thing to be able to brag about. But consequently, I haven't given this paper in a very long time, and I'm excited, very excited to do it in correlation with this exhibit. So my topic is Gay Rodeo, a celebration of Western cultural heritage and urban gay culture. This paper introduces the history and development of organized gay rodeo and explores how the cultural heritage of native rural Westerners has merged with the cultural values, humor, and expression of urban gay America. Because rural gays and lesbians are invisible in the history and contemporary culture of the American West, their existence as a community has been very difficult to identify. Gay rodeo dramatically reveals a previously unknown rural community and provides an opportunity to understand the similarities in cultural values and expression which unify them as a community. The popularity of gay rodeo is growing rapidly, becoming one of the most popular and exuberant expressions of late 20th century, that's the last century, of late 20th century gay culture. With approximately 8,000 members and over 100,000 spectators annually, Gay Rodeo presently, in 1993, consists of a network of 17 chapters representing 23 states and provinces. Scholars agree that the rodeos are cultural celebrations which, quote, reveal the community's culturally constructed view of man's place in nature and the structure and meaning of social relationships and their representations. That's E.A. Lawrence. The study of gay rodeo, this one, is intended to augment the understanding of Western American culture and of rodeo in particular, by filling in a void of information about the culture which has always been aggressively ignored. Just as the unique events and accompanying activities of the charreadas, or Mexican rodeos, reflect the culture of Mexican Americans in the United States, gay rodeo incorporates cultural expressions unique to the American gay community. The structure, formal rules, and general operation of gay rodeo reflect the community group's idealized view of society, especially regarding the issues of gender equality, sexual orientation, and inclusion. This blend of Western and gay culture is directly traceable to the founding and development of gay rodeo. Influences stem from the urban imperial court system of gay charities, the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, PRCA, you've all heard of, and from the cultural backgrounds and personal challenges of gay rodeo founders and participants. Thank you. The first gay rodeo was held in 1976 as a fundraising event for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, sponsored by the Reno chapter of the International Imperial Court System, one of the oldest and best organized gay institutions. When the local ranchers heard that the Reno gay community would be sponsoring the event, livestock suddenly became unavailable. Gay and gay-friendly ranchers rallied, and with their support, the annual event continued for 9 years to attract crowds of over 10,000 until the federal government seized the rodeo books in 1984. The International Gay Rodeo Association, founded in 1985, immediately filled the void, expanding to over 8 other states before attempting a return to Reno in 1988 for the finals rodeo. Canceled contracts and an injunction to stop the rodeo 2 days before the event disappointed hundreds of participants. Despite tens of thousands of dollars donated to Nevada charities, gay rodeo has effectively been driven out of its birthplace in Reno, Nevada to that day in 1993. It's just barely trying to come back now. A huge boost to the IGRA came in 1991 when Miller Brewing Company and their product Miller Lite became the first international sponsor of gay rodeo. Now in 1993, then in 1993, the association coordinated over 20 yearly rodeos, including 6 separate chapters in Texas, 5 in California, and 4 in the state of Missouri. The organizational structure of the IGRA reflects the imperial court system which founded gay rodeo. Of particular note is gender parity in the offices of president and vice president, and the retention of the most visible personnel, the royalty, a Mr., which is male, a Ms., which is female, and a Miss, which is drag. The people most responsible for organizing the charitable fundraising activities for the IGRA events. As the second largest rodeo circuit in the country, gay rodeo is a unique community celebration with its own personality and characteristics. But by far the largest percentage of participants are white, rural Westerners who grew up in ranching communities and rodeo environments. PRCA rules were the familiar system which served as a foundation for the adaptation of rodeo into a gay community celebration. In many areas, the gay rodeo has become the largest annual gathering of gay men and women. Consequently, it is truly a community celebration on the level of a county or a community fair. Although the rodeo is the featured event of the weekend, the rodeo grounds also become the site of other community activities. Gay logos and symbols such as the rainbow flag, the pink triangle, the color lavender, the Greek letter lambda, and the double-bladed axe appear everywhere and are every bit as abundant as country and western symbols such as boots, horses, saddles, cowboy hats, and fringe. In fact, the symbols are often mixed. The riderless horse may have rainbow ribbons braided into its mane. Vendors sell bolo ties in the shape of pink triangles with cowboy boots in the center, and everywhere cowboy hats sport pins with numerous gay logos or a rainbow hatband. Gay humor is also pervasive, as the 1992 Rodeo Finals program book suggests, quote, "For audience participation, the wave is out. Too much energy expended and you might drop your beer. Try screaming out some cheers in unison after a successful showing in the arena. Currently popular is the long drawn-out, 'That was nice!' And the weekend's favorite may be, 'Love your hair! Hope you win!'" That's from the IGRA Finals program book in 1992. Anyway, the arena grounds usually has 1 or 2 areas set aside to accommodate the rigorous performing schedule featuring more dancers, including popular Western line dancing, square dancing, singers, performers of gay-related comedy routines, and precision clogging that doesn't even attempt to be Appalachian in style, meaning very little gingham, petticoats, or big fluffy hair. Dance ensembles are all men, all women, and mixed, but that night include women dancing a man's part. Besides the performance space, another exhibition building may be used where time is allowed for dance instruction, followed by hours of open social dancing. In some of the larger facilities, more than 100 social couples can be dancing at a time. And a disc jockey rotates between various line dances choreographed to specific tunes, the Texas two-step, swing, and a new genre Western couple dance mixers where dancers change partners after every few bars of music. Vendor areas include a wide range of Western gear, including sales of cowboy hats, boots and clothing, saddles and leather work, tack, and horsehair braided hat bands. Services include boot shining and hat blocking. Other Other vendors sell gay-related items including travel vacations, cruise packages, items with gay logos and humor including greeting cards, t-shirts and clothing, posters, jewelry, and flags. Publishers of gay and lesbian literature sell books and newspapers and magazines. Artists and craft workers sell their products. Clubs and organizations like the Gay Policemen's Association, the Human Rights Campaign Fund, the International Association of Gay Square Dance Clubs, Affirmation for Gay and Lesbian Chaplaincy Programs. There's a place called Lesbian Mormons and Paws. Pets are wonderful people. And the AIDS Chaplaincy Program pass out free information and raise money for their own causes. Official rodeo souvenirs include pins, t-shirts, and posters are sold by the sponsoring state organization. Food varies from rodeo to rodeo, but a chuck wagon barbecue is standard fare. Religious groups look for new members. Mexican food is common, and the snack bar always provides the standard American hamburgers and hot dog menu. Vegetarian food is scarce. I don't say it isn't there at all, but I've never seen it. And located throughout the facility, mixed drink bars stand selling Miller beer on tap and are operated by affiliate IGRA or associations such as fundraisers for their own local charities. The Grand Entry. At noon, the rodeo officially opens with the Grand Entry, the one formal display of social order when respect, religion, and patriotism come together with none of the rodeo tensions between animals, work and play, gay and not gay, and it's an integral part of the rodeo drama. Cadillac convertibles carry dignitaries into the arena. IGRA officers and local royalty are presented. The arena crew is introduced, and the person chosen as the Grand Marshal is honored for past service. Banners of participant organizations are carried into the field by members of regional rodeo associations, dance teams sponsoring businesses and organizations, religious groups, social and sports clubs. For their introduction, rodeo clowns create a few moments of mayhem, and then everyone exits. Once everyone on foot is left, riders on horseback burst into the arena with a display of patriotic flags. First the United States flag, and Canada, and then the state flags of IGRA affiliates, and the flag of the major sponsor, Miller Brewing Company. As national anthems are sung, hats are held over hearts, and the crowd remains silent during the benediction and prayer offered by a guest minister. The solemn ceremony of leading a riderless horse with boots reversed in the saddle, saying that the rider has passed, with boots reversed in the stirrups, serves as a memorial for rodeo participants who have died. And this very poignant part of the Grand Entry has become emotional because of the dozens of gay rodeo cowboys who were lost to AIDS just in the past decade. Well, the Grand Entry concludes with a dramatic exit of the flags, full speed on horseback, and the directive, "Let's rodeo!" And there are 4 categories of events in gay rodeo: rough stock events, horse events, roping events, and camp events. Unlike standard rodeo, men and women compete together, but with the exception of team events, they're judged separately and receive separate awards. Rules for male and female contestants are also the same with minor exceptions. For example, a female bull rider may elect to ride holding the animal with 2 hands. And like other rough stock events, the rider is judged for form and control, while the animal earns points for power and bucking patterns. Steer riding is another important and exciting popular event of the rodeo, differing from bull riding only in the animal's size, strength, and ferocity. Like the previous mentioned events, shoot dogging is another arena-born event where contestants wrestle a 500-pound steer to the ground, and the last of the rough stock events is bareback bronc riding. All horse events test the horsemanship of the rider and the skill of the horse to take commands. In standard rodeo, these are the only events in which women can compete, to the exclusion of men, but in gay rodeo, men and women compete together. These events include pole bending, which you see here, weaving a timed ride through 6 evenly spaced poles, flag racing, which is riding a patterned course while picking up and depositing a flag atop barrels, and barrel racing, riding a cloverleaf pattern around barrels in the arena. The contestants which most display the occupational skills of the working cowhand are roping events. And you see her on the back of a horse throwing a rope to catch the steer. That happens out on the range every day. In breakaway roping, the contestant on horseback dallies the rope, and as the calf hits the end of the rope is jerked from its dally on the saddle horn, and time is taken by the judge. In calf roping on foot, time is taken when the contestant jerks the slack off the roped calf. Contestants say that team roping, and that's this picture here, had its origins on the ranch when it became necessary to doctor stock on the open range. In this event, 2 riders work as a team to rope and stretch a steer jointly in the fastest possible time. The header leaves the box first after the barrier line has been broken and drops a loop over the steer's horns while turning the steer away from his or her partner, the heeler. The heeler then throws a loop to catch both back legs, and each rider then pulls both of their ropes taut, and time is called. The events which are most singularly characteristic of gay rodeo are the camp events. These events are not only spectator events, but they also provide the gay community the opportunity to respond with humor to the stereotyping which has victimized them for generations. I think it's not a coincidence that these events are all team events, reinforcing the notion that gays must work together to combat social oppression. In response to the notion that gay men are inherently creative and artistic, there is an event called steer decorating. There's a picture over there. Enough said. A second camp event is goat dressing. And again, this was created especially for gay rodeo. Teams of 2 have to catch a goat, which is tethered to a stake in the arena by a 10-foot rope. The team must then fit a pair of men's jockey shorts on the back legs and rump of the goat. They must then race back to the start line and tag the judge. This event attacks gay stereotyping on several levels. It pokes fun at the stereotype that gay men are fixated on sex. First of all, it desexualizes a symbol of male sexuality, the jockey shorts, by featuring them in a nonsense, non-erotic situation. And secondly, gays become the saviors of decency, who clothe the goat, shielding its nakedness from public view. Lesbians also participate fully in this event, further desexualizing the maleness of the jockey shorts. The most enlightening of all camp events is the wild drag race. This is a team event with 3 people on a team. 1 man, 1 woman, and 1 person in drag, a man or a woman. The steer is in the chute with a halter and a rope. The cowgirl is the other end of the rope. The cowboy and the person in drag are positioned 40 feet from the chute. When the chute opens, the cowgirl attempts to pull in the steer, and the cowboy holds the animal in place for the person in drag to climb on and ride it across the finish line halfway down the arena. This is by far the most popular event at gay rodeo. It uses humor, theater, and rough action to incorporate the most incongruent elements intersections of urban gay culture with rural lifestyle. Perhaps the most maligned, misunderstood, and most stereotypical symbol of gay culture is the effeminate urban man who is thought to turn his back on all that is good and natural. He is often depicted as a creature who hates women, but being something less than a man, he puts on a dress and a wig to masquerade as something even less than a woman. Well, that's the stereotype. In reality, the drag artiste is the star of the event, and as we realize, the star of the entire rodeo. The wild drag race is held late in the afternoon after a multitude of serious riders have been thrown from the backs of horses or trampled in the mud by steers, after many incidents when arena volunteers were chased in a full-speed run over guard walls or risked their own safety to divert runaway animals from harming a downed rider. These rough-and-tumble cowboys and cowgirls who wrestle with nature daily epitomize the Western lifestyle. The rugged individuals who live in balance with nature and who take charge of their own lives and destiny. But now, the wild drag race. They reappear in red crinolines cut out of Gone with the Wind, in gossamer fairy wings, or dressed as a Bible-thumping zealot with tersely flipped hair and black orthopedic shoes, or as the caricature of a high school cheerleader who is popular for her huge breasts and winsome personality, but underneath is really a bitch. The crowds erupt in laughter as each drag enters the arena in a manner which portrays her character's personality. Look at her riding that steer. The team structure of the wild drag race also breaks the stereotype that lesbians, effeminate men, and masculine men do not respect each other. In fact, in this event, they depend upon each other and become role models of diversity and creativity and teamwork. None is indispensable, but it is the drag who, despite the hang-up of flowing gowns, tangling hair, and color-coordinated accessories, it is the drag who must inevitably cross the finish line so the entire team may win. The wild drag race, like gay rodeo, shows the diversity of gays and lesbians as powerful individuals. They are powerful because throughout the weekend event, they experience the opportunity to express all the different facets of their character. They are talented dancers. She won, by the way. They are talented dancers, hard-riding cowhands, volunteers for charity fundraisers, team workers, participants in patriotic events, respectful observers of religious ceremony, and they are courageous enough to wear a dress without placing their masculinity at risk. She was pretty happy when she won that. People from all walks of life attend gay rodeo, but most of the contestants are from rural, western, and ranching backgrounds. Many of the cowboys rode in rodeos in their hometown communities and in high school, and women became involved with animals for the 4-H club. I interviewed a native Utahn who knew she wanted to ride in rodeos since she was a young girl, and she showed me childhood sketches that she made of herself, dreaming that someday rodeo would be a possibility for her. As she grew up, she knew the girls were excluded from such events. But now a policewoman for the Forest Service, she rode her first rodeo bull at a gay rodeo in Tucson. Another woman was the queen of her high school rodeo, but rather than practicing the rodeo wave and riding a time parade horse under a lipstick smile, and hairspray curls. She prefers strapping her hand to a bareback bronc and chasing her cowboy hat through the air to land in the sand of a rodeo arena. A woman known as the grandmother of gay rodeo was raised on a ranch in South Dakota. Like the famous cowboy poet Bruce Kiskadden, she had a brief filming history and rode as a stunt woman for Debbie Reynolds. She rode, and that's her, she rode bulls until she was 45. Now in semi-retirement, she raises quarter horses on the Great Plains and works as a judge at gay rodeo contests. There are contestants who ride under assumed names or who request that no photos be taken. Some fear harassment from other rodeo circuits where they ride, and others simply fear if their hometown or business community learned they were gay, discrimination would likely deprive them of their home and livelihood. Many pull horse trailers over 1,000 miles from their ranch in Montana or from their farm in Wyoming to attend a gay rodeo far enough away that they have no fear that their more parochial neighbors would learn of their homosexuality once they return. Increasing numbers of urban, non-ranching gays and lesbians are joining the ranks of contestants. Drawn by an interest in country music and lifestyles, they are encouraged to join local rodeo associations, volunteer at regional rodeos, and participate in year-round activities which include charity fundraisers, community service projects, and social events. They are also encouraged to participate in rodeos, beginning with easier events such like good dressing and practicing throwing a rope to enter a calf roping on foot, and later graduate to more strenuous events if they're interested. Since gay rodeo is almost 20 years old, back in 1993, there is now a generation of participants who are in their senior years. Some now retired, others with ranches and livestock of their own, they offer invaluable human and material resources to gay rodeo. Although the oldest contestant on the circuit was in his late 50s, many others have retired from the contest. They serve as rodeo judges and train younger volunteers. Participants in gay rodeo tell stories of growing up with their potential stifled by the larger society because of their sexual orientation. They also rave about the feelings of community they've discovered in gay rodeo. Indeed, the events are organized to maximize the interaction between people. Barriers are broken down on many levels as participants work together. They do manual labor to construct rodeo facilities. They plan fundraising events, put on shows, do dance mixers, work in the arena, participate in rodeo events, bandage each other's bruises, clean up after parties, and get to know each other as people beyond the stereotypes. Masculine and feminine women, Hispanic drag queens, tough rodeo cowboys are all pulled out of their small circles to mix with each other and create lifelong friendships. The sense of community found at gay rodeo is that of people who have been held back their whole lives through, but have finally found something they really enjoy. With the feelings of repression lifted in the activity, the pent-up energy just comes running through. There she is again. If standard rodeos have been successful in eliminating gays, women, and minorities from participating fully in these cultural celebrations, which are considered by many anthropologists and folklorists as to reflect the epitome of Western American values, perhaps those upon whom we have relied for reporting the actual culture and history of the West have similarly erred or manipulated a false depiction of who we Westerners are as a people and what our true values have always been. There have always been women ranching without men in the West. There have always been racial minorities accomplishing the hardest labor in the West. And who but a gay man would be more likely to flee the oppressive atmosphere of family or an intolerant society for the mythological West where a person could build his or her own reputation on merit alone? These men and women, gays and lesbians, are the cultural outlaws of the late 20th century. The people most feared by politicians and district attorneys in cities like Reno and in states like Oregon, Colorado, and Utah. They are feared by manipulative media moguls, opportunistic preachers, and the plague. They are the outcast survivors, the true inheritors of that mythological Western rugged individualism. Now, using the words of cowboy poet Hurley Fletcher, I ask the citizens of Reno, Nevada, who lead a soft, predictable life in relation to their gay brothers and sisters whom they've turned away. Oh, you soft and dainty floaters, with your aeroplanes and motors. Are you the great-grandchildren